On today's show, from Liberty to the Chicago White Sox and the Houston Astros, we'll tell you which Flames were selected in the MLB draft.
Plus, what's the secret behind the success of LU hockey? This device might be it. And we take a deeper dive with Liberty swimmer Kiah Francis. This is Flame Central.
Chicago White Sox, Houston Astros, the 2021 MLB draft is here, and a few Flames have new homes. Welcome inside our studios here at Flame Central. I'm Rhett, she's Emily, and Emily, there are 20 rounds in the draft this year, and a few Flames heard their names called.
We sure did. When you grow up playing the game of baseball, Rhett, you know, there's like the ultimate dream of hearing your name called in the MLB draft one day, and that dream came true for lefty Fraser Ellard and infielder Will Wagner.
Yeah, the first Flame taken was big left-hander Fraser Ellard, as the Chicago White Sox selected him in the 8th round with the 245th pick. The transfer slinger only spent one season with the Flames, but definitely made some noise in the Liberty uniform. Ellard recorded a .365 ERA with a team-high 7 saves. He also struck out 63, the most Ks of any relief pitcher in the conference, and walked 13 over 44 and a third innings. Ellard didn't stop there. He held opposing batters to 212, earning himself a spot on the ASUN Conference first team. A terrific year for Fraser, and now he's standing by right now with Emily.
Yes, so excited to be joined by one of the newest members of the Chicago White Sox organization. It's lefty Fraser Ellard, and you were drafted 8th round, 245th pick. So I'm sure you were just patiently waiting for your name to be called. Take me through the moment that you heard your name, and what were some of your emotions leading up to it?
Yeah, it's kind of like the way I can describe it is, you know how when you're watching a TV show, every episode gets a little more intense, a little more intense. That's kind of how the rounds were. So like every round I was like, all right, is it going to be now? Is it going to be now? I was actually on a Zoom with my family, and so we were kind of talking back and forth, and I was getting texts and I was getting calls with some other scouts for some other teams, and the White Sox were in the mix. I said, okay, I think I'm going to go soon. I think I'm going to go soon. And I literally was swiping between the Zoom and the draft tracker, and then I switched over to the draft tracker, and I said, I just got drafted. And my family's kind of like still talking. They didn't really hear me. I was like, guys, I just got drafted. I just got drafted. So it was just a lot of exultation, honestly, a lot of hard work that gets to pay off, and just so blessed to be able to have that moment with my family and to be at such an amazing school like Liberty where I get the opportunity to do that. And so, yeah, the whole day was kind of like me trying to distract myself, and then eventually I was like, I just can't distract myself anymore. I want to watch. But it was a lot of anticipation that paid off, and just super excited.
So you mentioned you were talking to a couple teams. So what is the draft process like? Take us through what that looks like for you.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. So basically, you have teams that talk to you before the draft, and then the White Sox, as an example, they didn't talk to me at all until the day of the draft. So I'm kind of sitting at my computer doing some work, and then I start to get a couple texts in the 5th round, and one of them is the White Sox. He says, hey, would you be willing to take this amount of money for a signing bonus? I said, yes, for sure. And then a couple other teams text me that some I talked to, some I didn't. And so then it's kind of just communication back and forth of, all right, we think we're going to take you with this pick, or we think we're going to take you in these next couple rounds. Does this work? Would that work? Are you good to be doing this and that? So there's a lot of just random communication with lots of different teams. Some guys you've talked to before, and then some teams you never knew like had any interest in you. So essentially it's more of just like scatter. Like you have no idea what to expect. Like even guys that have been doing this for 20 years, every year it's something different. So.
Just such a wild experience, but so happy for you. You're still here in Lynchburg though. We can't seem to get rid of you, which is not a bad thing, and we love that you're here, but what have you been doing here in Lynchburg?
Yeah, so I took some time off after the season and went home to my family and stuff like that, and then I don't know, I guess I can't leave. I came up here and started training.
Not a bad place to be.
Honestly, not. It's beautiful. So I came up here and trained, and I've been working with the coaches at Liberty still, and getting some things done and hammering a few more things out. And it's just such a blessing to have a workout facility where I can get my throwing in, I can get my bullpens in, I can get my weights in and everything like that in one place. So yeah, I hopefully will keep coming back.
You've only been here a year, but was there something specifically that you learned here with this organization at Liberty that you will take with you for the rest of your baseball career?
Yeah, Coach Williams, the pitching coach here, he would probably agree that the biggest thing I learned this year was just don't do too much. I'm one of those people that I just want to go out and I want to do like tons of different things, and we really narrowed the focus this year and just focused on one thing at a time. We're kind of fanatical about that, and I think it helped me a lot with my success.
All right, Frazier, well, what's the next move? Where are you going? Do you have any idea what's next in your life?
Not really.
Which has got to be a little strange, but it's just part of this wild experience, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. I know probably this weekend I'll be heading out to Arizona, from what I understand, and I'll be there for a week, and they'll get eyes on me, see me in person, go through my physicals, sign my contract, and then after that I'll either be most likely in North Carolina or Alabama with one of their minor league teams, and then from there it's just kind of who knows, you know?
Well, we can't wait to follow along on this journey with you and wish you the best of luck. Lefty Frazier Ellard going to the Chicago White Sox organization. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
And hey, we can't forget about your teammate. The other Flame to hear his name called was infielder Will Wagner. On the final day of the MLB draft, the second baseman was selected by the Houston Astros during the 18th round with the 538th pick. Wagner's father, Billy, was also drafted by the Astros back in 1993. This season, Wagner hit .333 with a team-leading 52 RBIs and 32 runs scored.
Well, let's not forget about Trey Gibson. He's not getting drafted yet. Give the guy a couple years, but he was named a freshman All-American by D1Baseball.com. The ASUN Freshman of the Year posted a 7-4 record with a .332 ERA. In 13 starts, he struck out 70 and held opponents to a .223 batting average. Gibson received All-American honors from Collegiate Baseball newspaper last month. Well, turning our attention to golf, news broke last month that Kiah Francis was returning for another year of Flames golf, and one of the all-time Liberty greats received one of the highest honors in program history. Vincent has been named to the 2021 Ping All-America second team. This is the second All-America honor to follow the 2021 spring season. This recognition is also the highest All-America honor for any Liberty golfer in program history. This is the third All-America honor in his career and probably won't be the last. Vincent, not the only Liberty golfer getting recognized. Irvin Chang once again has been named the ASUN Male Student Athlete of the Year. This is the second time in his Liberty career that Chang has been honored for his excellence in the classroom. Now, Chang graduated from the Liberty Golf program this past spring and leaves the program having been named a member of the ASUN All-Academic Team 3 times, along with his 2 Scholar Athlete of the Year awards.
To the pitch, Lady Flames Cora Dunnick has been nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year award. So this award is presented to honors graduate female athletes who have gone above and beyond in academics, athletics, service, and leadership throughout their collegiate careers. Dunnick earned all conference honors in all 4 seasons at LU and was also named the ASUN Tournament MVP and selected to the all-conference first team her senior season. In the classroom, she held a 3.81 GPA, majoring in biomedical sciences. So congratulations to Cora on that nomination. Let's head to the hardwood, shall we? LU men's basketball has pretty much owned the ASUN the last few years, capturing the conference title for 3 straight seasons. And the Flames don't plan on changing that this season as we look ahead to the ASUN schedule, which was recently released. Thankfully, the schedule doesn't have the same setup as last year. Remember those back-to-back games with the same opponent? Whew, thankfully that's not happening. Not the case this season, but with the addition of 3 new teams to the ASUN, the conference has split to 2 6-team divisions, East and West. Each team will play twice against teams in its own division and then have 1 crossover game against each team from the opposite division.
Let's head to the ice for a moment. Liberty Hockey in whole is one of the top programs in the ACHA. Year in and year out, the 5 teams that make up Liberty Hockey are amongst the tops in the nation. As you can see here, it was an unprecedented year for the Flames on the ice. The Lady Flames Division I program captured their 3rd straight national title, tying an ACHA record in the process. The men's Division I and II teams both made it to the Final 4 of the ACHA National Tournament, while the Division III team made it to the ACCHL Championship game under first-year head coach Josh Graham.
After hearing those numbers, you might be asking yourself, So why is Liberty Hockey so good? Well, I'm not saying this is the entire answer, but this device is definitely helping to move the programs in the right direction. What makes it even more special is that Liberty is one of the few universities to have access to this portable, resistant training and testing device. Introducing 1080 Sprint.
Now, I may be a little bit biased, but here at LU, we've got ourselves a pretty sweet hockey program. But have you ever stopped to think, what's their secret sauce? Well, let's ask Liberty Hockey strength and conditioning coach Chris Kerr to see what he thinks.
There are plenty of tools and machines out there to improve the performance of athletes. There's some that are kind of normal or basic, and every weight room has them. And then there's the 1080 Sprint, which is kind of the Ferrari in our performance world. It's the tool that people want and they envy because it is so powerful.
Oh, Chris, you know I love a good Ferrari, but what exactly is the 1080 Sprint?
Well, Rhett, I'm glad you asked. 1080 Sprint is a rectangular box. It's about 3 to 4 feet wide. It has a drum that spins with a paracord attached to it. So as an athlete, I stand a few feet in front of the 1080. I hook the cord with a carabiner to a belt, and then I instruct the athlete to run away from it. I could also set the 1080 so the cord is really far away and I'm pulling the athletes towards me.
Okay. So you've got your big metal box and your nice long rope thingamajigger, but I still don't see what all the hype is about.
Here's where the real fun starts. This machine has a mega supercomputer in the back that is processing all this data. So every single sprint is measuring to 0.01 seconds. It's just an incredible tool that captures so much data.
Data and mega supercomputers? I hate to say it, Chris, but this sounds a little bit nerdy.
This might sound a little bit nerdy, but we love it.
Whoa, hey bud. Who on earth are you and where did you come from?
My name is Dr. Jared Hornsby, and I'm an associate professor focusing in Master of Exercise Science with a strong focus in student mentorship and research. My role working with the 1080 Sprint, again, was helping with acquisition, helping with the communications between 1080 and Liberty University. With Chris Kerr, he's in there with the athletes every workout, making sure that they are doing the right things to improve their performance. And then on the back side, I will help extract the data from the 1080, statistically analyze those, draw the conclusions, and then help us kind of parse through, what were the actual results from this training.
Okay, so you're the brains of this operation. Tell me, what does this all have to do with hockey then?
Having a device that not only quantifies sprint performance, but also having that same device that can actually generate data for analysis is really important, because we can see what type of changes we're seeing in the athletes, whether they're getting stronger, more powerful, faster, and as soon as a workout is over, that data gets generated into a report that athletes and coaches alike can have access to.
We're not just getting time, speed, force, power with every single sprint, but we're also getting a graph, a printout of what every single stride kind of looks like. So that's where the collaboration with Dr. Hornsby on the back end, kind of running all these analyses of, are these exercises transferring and improving our athletes in their sport, is kind of the most important thing. I don't want to be throwing darts at a dartboard and hoping to get lucky. I want to be precise. I want those sniper rifle exercises that are going to hit the target every single time, and I could say with confidence to my athletes, hey, if you get better at this, you will improve physically for your sport.
Okay, I think I get it now. So you're telling me that more of this helps lead to more of this, which ultimately means more backdoor play. They score! Sorry, got a little excited there.
That's okay, Rhett. Happens to us all the time.
Well, there you have it, folks, the 1080 Sprint, another piece of cutting-edge technology right here on Liberty's campus. In the hands of our brilliant professors and coaches, this baby is the key to helping our athletes push harder, sprint faster, and best of all, win more.
What a cool piece produced by our own Tyler Beatty and, you know, the awesome voiceover work done by you. Just such a fun way to describe something that would have typically been way over my head.
Yeah, and how many club sports programs you think in the nation have access to this kind of technology? And the cool thing is, here's Ian McCall, athletic director at Liberty. He works hand in hand with club sports. So you see the tech that club sports is working on. Wouldn't surprise me that in the near future, if they start using that tech in some of the NCAA programs.
Sounds like a little bit of a tease for some of the other teams here on campus.
Yeah, cool stuff. Well, after the break, we head to the pool for the remarkable story of Lady Flame Kiah Francis.
Plus, it's photo shoot time. No, not for you, Rhett. We take a look inside Liberty Football's Media Day. Stay with us.
Times are changing. At Liberty, we've made it our priority to grow, to learn, to improve. But even with all the change, our purpose remains. We want to equip people to go make a difference through their calling in their communities around the world. And though we are blessed with an amazing campus, our most valuable resource has always been the people, our students, and those who inspire them. It's the people who serve, maintain, support. It's you.
What's really important? Not the buildings, not the mountain, not the property, but the young people who use these buildings, who study in these facilities. They are important.
No matter what the future holds, we will stay focused on our goal. And the people of Liberty University are how we will continue to carry out our mission. They are the ones who empower us to
Training champions for Christ.
Champions for Christ.
Training champions for Christ.
God's calling for your life can be specific. And at Liberty, we're committed to equipping you to pursue that calling. Choose from more than 300 residential programs of study, or design your own major through interdisciplinary studies, and be confident your major is the perfect fit. No matter how specific your calling, you'll find a program of study to match at Liberty University, and become your best as a champion for Christ.
Your future career will ask you to analyze, assess, implement, react, make smart decisions in a split second. With a Liberty University degree, you'll be ready because your first day on the equipment comes long before your first day on the job. Get ready to take on tomorrow, today.
In 1776, one of the most important documents in our nation's history was penned by one of Virginia's most famous residents. Throughout the next 200 years, the importance of Central Virginia was deeply woven into the tapestry of our nation's history. Liberty University is blessed to be built upon these same historic grounds, furthering the Christian tradition of our founding fathers and training young men and women of character and of calling. At Liberty, you're welcomed into a community rich with history, and we invite you to explore our campus in Central Virginia to discover more than just the surface level. Building upon the tapestry of history, we strive for greatness, humble to be at the heart of where the country began.
Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Flame Central. It's no secret that the swimming and diving team here at Liberty excels in the pool, but they're also no slouch in the classroom either. The Lady Flames earned a 3.71 GPA, which led all Liberty athletic teams, and also was the highest team GPA among all CCSA swimming and diving programs. Now, individually, senior Peyton Keener also was named a first-team Scholar All-American. A great finish to a strong career at LU.
We stay in the pool for our next feature. Being vulnerable and voicing your struggles is so difficult, especially when you're having success in life, or in Kiah Francis's case, in the pool for Liberty Swimming and Diving. Until one day, the Lady Flame found strength and courage to open up about her pain and how she learned to put her identity in Christ.
I never thought that I would be talking about this. It was such a shame-filled time for me, and the thought of telling somebody else that I was struggling with eating, or that I would come home and binge, to deal with my problems and my stress was so shameful to me. But now that I am learning so much about how a lot of other women struggle with the same thing. I just really enjoyed having something to work towards. Growing up, that was kind of like something that I put a lot of my identity in. Even though I was homeschooled, I still had the opportunity to be a part of that team dynamic, and it was really big in helping me understand the whole concept of college swimming, where it's like something bigger than yourself and it's team first. I wanted to be on a team that was accepting, loving, and encouraging and supportive. And after I considered all my options, Liberty was the one that I felt I would succeed the most at. I had a really awesome freshman conference. I dropped a ton of time. I do remember thinking at one of the finals of that is that this pressure is so much. This is a lot to take in. I think I remember joking with a teammate like, oh, I'm getting too old for this. And they said, you're a freshman. But I loved it and I knew that's what I wanted to do. But I do remember the pressure being a lot, even in the moment, even when things were good. Internally, I was having a really rough time, and I just could tell that something was off. I had set some really lofty goals out for myself, and it was kind of a all or nothing, like, you will not fail. I was coming off having all this feeling, all this support and love and everything that Liberty swimming and diving is. And then I started to think, well, maybe I just don't fit in very well with this team, and maybe I'm just doing something wrong, or maybe I'm not good enough or worthy to be here. It wasn't anything anybody had said to me, it was just me being very unhappy with who I was, and I was not finding my identity in Christ. And one of those was just body changes, and how when you start lifting, you gain more muscle and you eat like so much more than I started eating so much more than I ever did in high school because I needed to fuel my body. I was swimming so much more. But I saw that as a really big problem. I can't have this mentality that I can eat whatever I want. Like, I have to start restricting. I was putting a lot of my worth in what I looked like. And what I looked like, my brain had decided that that's why I wasn't doing as well in the pool. I really felt isolated and lonely, and I did it to myself. I just wasn't surrendering anything in my life to God. So I was depressed, miserable. I did not enjoy coming to practices. My teammates would play music in the locker room, and I remember getting angry at that. I would feel all this frustration, and I had no patience. I had no joy. I would just stay up late just to have time to stare at the ceiling because I didn't want to begin my next day. I didn't want to go through life and just face each day. I didn't feel like I had any purpose. There was this one meet that we had where I just had this complete anxiety attack. I just couldn't stop the tears at all that day, and I remember feeling so vulnerable in that moment because my teammates saw me crying.
Yeah, I remember that moment pretty vividly. It's an emotional moment for me. I remember one of her teammates coming over after the meet ended and saying, I don't think Kiah's doing okay. I think you need to go over and talk with her. So I was really scared that day, but Coach Jessica came up and said, Kiah, it hurts me to see you like this. We need to figure this out. Let me help you. She just started sobbing, and she just started crying, and she said, I don't know what's going on. I don't know these feelings that I have. It was a moment where she was just able to finally just let it all out and let her walls down and just share her emotions. And in the pain and in the suffering, it taught me a lot about who Kiah was, because as I was sitting there crying, Kiah reached over and said, it's gonna be okay. And that's just who Kiah is. She has such a heart for people, and it was in that moment that I realized that she needed those people for her, and she needed to know that we were there for her in some of her darkest moments.
To receive that love from her was just amazing, and it was really eye-opening, and I realized that my team had always been there, but I wasn't receiving their love, and I didn't know how to communicate what I was feeling.
After that moment on the pool deck, we met every single week in my office. We would just sit on the floor and we would just talk, and she would just share where she was, and I would just ask her just to be honest and just to share her heart, and then we would just pray about it.
It was over time that I surrendered to God in a lot of areas. It was kind of bit by bit. It was definitely not an overnight thing, but I started to experience more joy and wouldn't become so anxious about certain things. When we are shattered and at our most broken, that is when God's love shows through. So I began to kind of embrace those parts of me that were not perfect.
I've just watched that growth in her spiritually to a place where she has just owned her relationship with the Lord.
It's really a privilege that He has chosen me to walk through something like that, because He knows that I will see the other side. Like, He will lead me through to the other side, and His glory will be shown through that. I am complete in Him. It's like I need not worry because He's looking out for me. So I just found a lot of peace in that, and I just think a year and a half ago I would have never thought to have that. It was just this invisible, He was an invisible entity that I would pray to, but now I can actually experience God's love and peace in my life every single day.
Well, coming up next, we give you a behind-the-scenes look at Media Day for Flames football. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for hanging out and welcome back to Flames Central. For those of you who didn't know, Rhett's first career was actually in modeling, but eventually, the photo shoots became too stressful, so he just started an on-air broadcasting career, but still in front of the camera.
Yeah, that dad bod craze was a really good time for me. But enough about me. Let's take a look behind the scenes at Liberty Football Media Day.
All right, so let me tell you about this Media Day setup. Look at these lights and, the video the video boards, all the different photo shoot setups they have was just so cool, Rhett.
Yeah, when you come to Liberty football games and you see all the stuff on the big screen, you're thinking, when do they have time to do all this? This is exactly it right here. They do a phenomenal job just producing all this stuff.
Really
Great
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us for this edition of Flame Central. Don't forget to download the podcast. Some great listening. For Rhett, I'm Emily. We'll see you next time.